Hello friends, my name is Josh. Welcome back to the Life Reset Collective. In this video, we're discussing grieving a life you thought you'd have. In this video, I'm going to talk very candidly about losing everything, including the dreams and goals you once had, and realizing that everything's changing. And I'm going to teach you how you might be able to find peace with this. That's what you're going to learn in this video, hopefully. I cannot promise that every single person watching this video is going to find peace, but I can tell you that that is what this video is about, and that's what we're going to try to accomplish. My name is Josh. The Life Reset Collective is a channel committed to helping people who need to reset their life, whether they're resetting from divorce, resetting from losing their home, losing a loved one, losing their job, and having to start all over to some degree from scratch and start again after great loss. That's what this channel is about. Grieving the life you thought you'd have. We all start out with big dreams, don't we? You probably started out thinking that things were going to be different than they turned out. You probably had dreams of a great job and a loving family, and you dreamed of coming home to a certain kind of life, being in certain kind of health, having a certain kind of job, certain kind of income. There might have even been a time in your life when you were very hopeful and optimistic and things were going really well. Maybe you are angry because you dared to hope a little too much. You dared to trust a little too much. I've been through 2 divorces that caused me to completely reset my life. So let me tell you that I at least know to some degree what you probably feel like. There was a time in my life when I envisioned a loving family, having a successful career, coming home, hugging my children, hugging my wife, having a fun home, Christmas dinners in front of the fire, going on family adventures, having a loving, vibrant relationship with my wife. And then now I look back on those dreams and I think, wow, what a joke those dreams were. Now, I'm not trying to make it dark or speak down on those dreams, but that's how it feels. It feels like, what a joke that young me, 16-year-old me, 17-year-old me, even 14-year-old me dreamed those dreams, and then what has become of my life in the aftermath of 2 divorces and just realizing it's not that simple. There's a lot to grieve when life doesn't go the way that you hoped it would go. There's a lot to grieve when you have lost the things that you thought you were going to achieve, when you had ambitions and hopes and you were basing your decisions on these things. These are the things you wanted in your heart, in your soul. These are things that you just longed for. The idea of them made you so happy. Maybe it was going to that college, or maybe it was marrying that person, or maybe it was making the marriage work with that person, or maybe it was getting that job, but then you didn't get it. Or maybe it was getting that job and you thought, yes, I finally made it, but then you get fired. Or maybe it was that you got evicted, or maybe it was health. You got a diagnosis, or maybe you went to prison, right? Maybe you got involved in something and before you know it, your life is over because you're behind bars and now you have to start all over again. Maybe you're just getting out. Maybe you're just going in. Maybe this was about the loss of a loved one. Maybe it wasn't about rejection. Maybe it was that they were taken from you, what seems like too soon, unfairly. Friends, at the beginning of this video, I told you I was going to share with you, talk about how to grieve the life you thought you'd have, to a point where maybe you could find some hope and some closure. Maybe there could be hope on the horizon. And here's what I have to say about that. I once heard some really good advice. A lot of people think they are in the hero arc of their story. But the truth is they're in their origin story. And you have to go through your origin story before you actually embark on the adventure hero arc. What happens in the origin story? Tragedy. Tragedy is what happens. And unfortunately, my belief is, and leave a comment telling me what you think, that it comes for all of us. Not a single one of us is going to come out unscathed in the origin arc of our story. At some point, something is going to catch up to you. In some cases, we help to create the tragedy with choices, and sometimes there's nothing that we could have done to stop it. Sometimes, despite trying to make all the best choices, tragedy still fell right in front of you and you had no choice but to collide with it. So what does this mean? It means none of us get out unscathed. None of us get out clean. It's always a little dirty. Life is going to get rough for all of us. It's going to happen in different ways. One person's tragedy may look one way and another person's may look this way. And the truth is, you probably see some people who have endured tragedy and think to yourself, that's not real tragedy. My tragedy was so much worse. While you probably also look at other people and think, oh my God, their tragedy was so much worse than mine. That's because it's a matter of degrees. But just because your tragedy may not seem as bad as someone else's doesn't mean it wasn't tragedy, and it doesn't mean it wasn't valid, and it didn't mean it didn't crush all of your hopes and dreams and leave you just beaten up on the side of the road, left for dead. Because that is how it goes. Now, what do we do with that? How do we mourn the loss of everything that we once hoped we were going to achieve? Well, here's the thing. And I want this to really sink in and land. I want you to understand that the truth is, when we go through tragedy and we lose our hope, we lose our dreams, the things that we loved in our lives get pulled away from us, the quiet, peaceful existence in the beautiful little mountain shire becomes crushed and obliterated when the orcs invade, or when disease ravages the land, or when hunger strikes, or when, your best friends turn on you in betrayal. This is the beginning of a whole new chapter. Nothing in this life is assured. Loss is always around the corner. It doesn't mean it will always get us, but it's always lurking right there. It's crucial that we think about the life we once hoped for, and the life we once dreamed about, and the progress we once made toward that as a past chapter that happened to a different version of you. You are not that person anymore. You are a different person, and your story is different now. That was your origin story. That is who you were before. But now you are you. Now you're in the hero arc of your own story. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. You wouldn't have found this video if you weren't looking for it. In this chapter, you get to redefine yourself. You might be really angry about all the stuff that didn't work out before, all the failed dreams, all the possibilities of what could have been had that person not betrayed you, had that disease not ravaged your body, had that situation not happened that got you in trouble, had that job just kept their word and paid you instead of laying you off. There were so many possibilities of what could have been in that life, and if you're anything like me, these torment you because you think it was so close, and yet they're gone. So what I want to encourage you to do today is to think about that whole chapter as a different part of your life, and to treat the you that was in that chapter as a different version of you, because you are different now. Now you've seen the darkness. You've seen the malevolence. You've seen what life can be like when it rolls up its sleeves and goes to town on you. You are no longer naive. Now you know what the danger is. There is a certain amount of comfort we can find in sitting in a place of sadness and mourning about the past. But here's what I want to share with you in this video today, my friend. And I'm going to be really honest. I don't care if you made terrible choices that ruined that past life you hoped for. In my case, in my first marriage, I made a lot of terrible choices. And I have ruminated on that. I have beat myself up over that. I have mourned that. I have blamed myself. I have thought, Josh, you fool. You could have had it all and you made these choices, blah, blah, blah. Not wanting to forgive myself. Looking at myself as the villain, as the monster, as the person who caused my own suffering. But friend, I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing good to come from living in that place. We're still sitting in the ashes of the rubble when we're there. And I'm not saying not to learn from it. I'm not saying not to give it some time. We have to sit there for a little while, okay? We're going to lay there in our misery and we're going to mourn and we're going to cry and we're going to be angry and we're going to be bitter and we're going to get resentful and we're going to bargain and we're going to do all the stages of grief. And it's going to be ugly and it's not going to be pretty and we're going to lose friends and respect for ourselves and it's going to be a mess. But there comes a time. There comes a time when it's time to stand up and dust off the ashes and to say, all right, that part of me is done. That part of me is in the past now. Those dreams are in the past. Those hopes are in the past. Those chances are all in the past. Now I have a choice to make today. I can either choose to stay here in this pile of rubble and live there. I could try to prop up a little corner of the fallen house and drag the corpse of the old relationships back into it and try to talk to them and be friends with them. But what kind of life is that? We don't want that. We don't want that. We have a choice to stay there, but that's not where we should stay. What we should do is pack our belongings, put on our backpack, and say, I wish this didn't happen, but it did, and now there's nowhere to go but up the mountain, forward. Head for the coast, head for the greener pastures, head for the city, head for the next chapter. And when you begin that journey, you're slowly going to realize, and I hope you do, and I hope you tell yourself this, that you're not the same person you were before. And you deserve hope, and you deserve a second chance, and you deserve to reevaluate your goals, your hopes, your dreams. You deserve to reevaluate all those choices, and you deserve to say, you know what, I get another chance, and I'm going to do it like this. And you deserve to feel good about that, and you deserve for it to work out. I hope that this mental picture that I've painted helps to shed light on this topic of how to mourn the past that we've lost, how to come to terms with it, how to come to terms with how to move past it, how to conceptualize it in a way that gives us another chance. Because friends, when you're resetting your life, there is no such thing as just easy. And I know that. But there is such a thing as hope, and there's such a thing as you can do it. And you deserve to do it. So friend, here's my advice to you, and here's my encouragement to you. Pick yourself up out of the ashes, dust it off, pack your stuff, and move to the next chapter. Leave this destruction in the past. Forgive yourself. Forgive them. Forgive God. Forgive the circumstances. And march unafraid into the future and decide what you want there and go after it. With everything you've learned, with everything this tragedy has taught you, go after it and do not give up. Do not give up. That's my message to you today. My name is Josh. Hit that subscribe button if you are in the middle of a life reset and you'd like to get weekly videos about what to do. I wish you peace, happiness, and goodwill on your journey, my friend. Let's go after it together. See you on the next video.